So, good afternoon. And obviously, from me, Jenny Tooth, Executive Chair of UKBAA, I'd like to wish you all a wonderful International Women's Day. And I'm just so delighted to be here to see 5 wonderful women innovators present their businesses to us today. And I've got 3 wonderful women investors who are going to be giving feedback to you. I also wanted to take the opportunity to show our solidarity and our support for all the women innovators and women entrepreneurs across Ukraine. And I'm sure you'll join me in that today. This is a very important day for us all because we know that for many women innovators across the UK and obviously across the world, it's extremely challenging to find the finance you need to build and grow your business. And one of those important areas of finance is angel investment. It's the great way that you can access skills and experience and access to contacts and introductions alongside that really vital early stage risk capital. So that's why we've brought 3 active women angels today to comment on the great businesses that are going to pitch. We've got a wonderful range of ideas across the 5 businesses, and that's something that I think is especially exciting to see what different innovations, applications, and solutions you're all bringing. So if I may say, this is now your chance to sit back. We're not having any questions or comments. We're just going to go straight into this session, and then we'll have feedback after that from our 3 investors. So you can add some comments and ideas in the checkbox, but we won't be responding to them. So I'm going to begin with the first of these wonderful women entrepreneurs. Vijay, you're going to present to us catch-offs, and we're really excited to see your presentation.
Thank you, Jenny. I'll try my share my screen. Can someone please confirm? Can you see my screen? So,
yes, all fine.
Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Vijayalakshmi Subramani. I'm here to pitch for Teeny Weeny VR. I'm Vijayalakshmi Subramani, co-founder of Kirchhoffs Limited and the product head of Teeny Weeny VR. I earned my master's degree from University of Sunderland, and I was awarded Student of the Year 2019. And I was shortlisted for Inspiring Female Award by Northeast Chamber Business Awards in 2020 and 2021. At Kirchhoffs Limited, we've been developing products for that solve social, societal, industrial problems. Kirchhoffs is well supported by a highly qualified advisory board members, including Professor Jonathan Link, who has PhD in development psychology and has published in the areas of VR and children in development. We have an XR expert, Mr. Sean Allen, and Mr. Peter George, MBE, in our board, who is the Group Chief Legal Officer at Tees Valley Combined Authority. I have a 6-year-old autistic son, James. We found difficult in handling his anxiety level, who has got autism, and in taking him to new places or cinemas or fun fair or even just a shopping became very difficult with him. Transition had become a big issue. For example, from school to home or home to school became a big struggle for us. Sometimes it took us hours to calm him down, and lockdown did make the issue worse during COVID. That started the concept of Teeny Weeny VR. We brought in children's entertainers. Our major children entertainers are like Eileen and Joe, children's entertainers from Northeast region, and she is like award winner, like national award winner. And magician Marvin, who is like more than 30 years experience in this field. So we brought them and we made some shows, especially on VR for Send Children on a pro bono basis. We used travel videos and videos of local parks where we usually go on weekends before lockdown. James seemed to enjoy much. I noticed that the duration of his anxiety episodes have come down significantly low. I really wanted to help other parents as well, and we spread the word among our group members. Many people from our circle and have tried Teeny Weeny VR to their autistic children, and we had very great responses. We also have done teeny weeny VR demonstration to send children's parents through charities. We have done many different types of shows, like you can see children's entertainers and activity shows and fun-based virtual tours. And we discussed about how important it is to include VR in curriculum for send children. At some point, parents felt that watching videos with immersive experience has relieved their stress as a carer. We strongly believe that any solution which solves problems of people with disabilities would solve everybody's problem. Our teeny weeny VR will not only support Send children's development but also help their families' collective happiness in many ways. Uh, uh, we have developed partnerships with Newcastle Gateway Initiative, and we have launched our prototype with Harry Watts Academy, and we have also done our VR demonstrations with Woodland Special School. And here are some photos you can see from with the promotion we are using this, and we have tried with different age groups and also with different spectrum level. We have given them some kind of motivation, like certificates for trying something new, and we have got some feedback forms in the social story format. So we have developed this partnership with local schools and Newcastle Gateway Initiative and then University of Sunderland for research partners. There's some few schools are collaborating with us in this project, including Barbara Priestman Academy, Hopewood Academy, and Grange Learning Center, Percy Headley Foundation, Woodland Special School, and Harry Watts Academy. And we are also member of European Network for Accessible Tourism, and also Drawn Code is our technical partner, who is doing a close relationship with Facebook Oculus. Um, when it comes to like our revenue model, our teeny weeny VR will be like available as a freemium model, and which is like an apps on these smartphone apps, and VR headsets such as Oculus, and users can have monthly or yearly subscriptions if they want access beyond the stock contents or to commission tailored contents. And we also have plans to sell teeny weeny VR white label VR headsets, leveraging on our partnership with Pico, free subscription for the first year and subscription model from the second year. And we also have plans to rent out teeny weeny VR headsets to schools, charities, or parents, etc. In the future, we will enable children-friendly environment like advertisement options for tourist destinations, play areas, and children's arcade, etc. And also, we believe children's entertainers are also backbone of our teeny weeny VR. And as the system settles, we will introduce subscription model for entertainers to share this content. And as I believe, like we are currently working on a financial plan, and with our first draft of calculations, we believe £250,000 would be needed to take Teeny Weeny VR beta version to the wider market. And we plan to offer 10% equity in return for £250,000 investment. And we believe children's entertainers are helping us in this Teeny Weeny VR. So we are also creating them a parallel revenue stream along with their regular income. And I strongly believe I'm on the left side of this picture now on the steps, and I really want to go on to this picture on the right side where I can empower and inspire many women. Thank you.
Great. That was fantastic. Well done. So now I'd like to invite Maud to come and present Adapt.
Oh, hiya. Can you see me okay? Okay. So I'm going to go through the same rigmarole of trying to make sure that my slides are in the right place and everyone can see them. So if you can just confirm to me again that you can see my slides, I would also be super grateful for that. Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Great. The professional services are in the midst of a war for talent. Deloitte, Ernst & Young, KPMG and PwC currently have over 1,000 active job ads on LinkedIn for roles in high-skill areas such as auditing, management consulting and tech. Why? Because as the UK economy has developed, there has been a significant shift towards a high-skill economy with 2.5 million new professional level roles being added and just 55,000 non-professional ones. As a result, companies are wrestling with a shortfall of 2.6 million high-skill workers, and business leaders say the biggest risk in their future is hiring and retaining a skilled workforce, with 90% of CEOs prioritizing and investing in talent recruitment, development, advancement, and retention over everything else. So what distinguishes a high-skilled job? Professional qualifications. High-skilled jobs require trainees to pass exams like the ACCA, CFA or SQE, and an astonishing proportion of them struggle so much to balance a full-time day job with studying for their exams that they don't make it through. And the war for talent is being lost. Enter Adapt, the trainee productivity tool which breaks down every professional qualification, allowing trainees to rate their confidence, red, amber or green, to instantly categorise and evidence their perceived strengths and weaknesses. Adapt, the platform which allows companies to identify immediately which students are falling behind by sharing actionable insights into their engagement with the programme, their confidence on examinable topics, and their progress through the curriculum. Adapt, the 360-degree communication suite, which provides an immediate, effortless way for companies to support their trainees and deliver crucial, timely interventions to stop them from failing out. Now, we've already succeeded with this tool in a different market, launching our GCSE and A-level app in January 2020 and instantly going to #1 on the App Store, being featured by Apple on their front page and winning first prize in Elevating Founders' flagship competition at London Tech Week. We are now used by over 350,000 students in over 5,000 schools all around the world, and we're ready to take on the professional qualifications market. Now, in the first phase, we'll prioritise top-down B2B sales in large corporates, keeping our pricing in line with the LinkedIn premium subscriptions they already have to advertise their jobs, £49 per user per month or £499 per user per year. So the cost of to the employer tracks to the number of trainees they actually take on. Now, the UK schools market we've been in so far is small and underfunded, but this move into the global professional qualifications market gives us a much larger TAM of 17.4 billion. The beauty of our solution is that it's accessible to anyone with a smartphone, currently 78% of the world, for a SAM of 13.6 billion. And finally, our app is delivered in English, the preferred language of global business for 67% of workers, giving us an ultimate SOM, global smartphone users undertaking professional qualifications in English, of 9.1 billion. But to start with, however, we'll be going after the UK market, targeting the top 100 graduate employers in the UK and beginning with the Big Four, whose collective 2021 revenue was 167.3 billion and who have pledged 9 billion to technology and training over the next 3 years. So why will they buy it? Well, primarily for financial reasons, because the cost of losing a trainee and having to hire and retrain another is so much greater than the price we're charging them to support them through their exams. Secondly, because it gives them that vital recruitment edge over their competitors, appealing to the millennial job seekers who currently hold all the cards and who will choose a company which offers them benefits and a supportive culture over one which doesn't. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, because it will increase diversity by ensuring those BAME graduates who disproportionately drop out get the support they need to succeed. Diversity is top of mind for 96% of CEOs, partly because the war for talent means they need to start identifying new sources of it fast, but also because companies in the top quartile for ethnic diversity are 33% more likely to be profitable than companies who aren't. So why us? Well, as CEO, I'm the education expert, bringing with me a Cambridge degree, 8 years of teaching experience through Teach First and the support of Innovate UK. William, our CTO, has over 8 years experience building apps from scratch. Sarah, our CCO, is a cognitive psychologist and PhD mental health researcher. And Connor, our commercial lead, has 22 years of market experience at Williams Lee, including 8 years as European CEO and 2 years as global CEO. At Adapt, our mission is to help people feel in control of their work. We believe that we've changed the game for 4.4 million GCSE and A-level students. With your help, we can change the game for the 16.5 million trainees all around the world. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Well done, Alice. That was a great presentation. And now, very excited to hear from Alice at Polytag.
Thank you, Jenny. Just going to share my screen now. If you could just let me know if you can see that. Yes, okay, brilliant, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity and happy International Women's Day, everybody. Plastic is not getting recycled. So legislation is getting tougher. Here in the UK, we're waiting on the outcome of the extended producer responsibility consultation and a decision on deposit return schemes. There is a live consultation open now on waste tracking, and the plastic packaging tax goes live in 23 days' time. But governments have very little data to enforce the law, and businesses can't easily analyse progress and benchmark performance because once a piece of plastic packaging hits the bin, no one knows what happens to it. Recycling more means working together. Businesses have to stop operating in silos and start sharing data and collaborating with government, recyclers, and consumers. But if packaging data is going to be collected, sorted, and shared, it has to be done using existing systems and processes. And crucially, it has to be standardized so that data can flow between systems that are interoperable, everybody talking a universal language. Polytag technology enables the packaging circular economy thanks to its describe, tag, and trace platform solution. A small black QR code containing the serialized barcode and a UV data matrix containing the standard barcode, which are applied to every single piece of single-use recyclable plastic that we buy, so that we can trace interactions with the packaging and find out if it actually gets to a recycling centre. Packaging attributes linked to these tags are stored in a standardised database that anyone can connect to thanks to our open platform design. So we can connect brands, retailers, consumers, recyclers, and governments and recycle more together. Led by two co-founders with deep recycling sector expertise and a CEO who knows digital retail inside out. We have first filing IP in 2018 linked to recycling legislation. We're just about to close our first £1 million raise. And we're building everything to meet GS1 standards using a global data model and standardized product identifier syntax, which means we can deploy our platform solution anywhere in the world. We're starting with plastic, but with the potential to operate in many verticals, which gives us real scale. We can integrate with all printing solution providers and recycling hardware operators. Polytag is a technology solution that complements existing infrastructure and processes to deliver a commercially sound, sustainably focused platform solution for brands, retailers, consumers, and government, so we can enable the packaging circular economy and recycle more together. Please get in touch to receive our investor memorandum deck, find out more about our business model, and arrange to see our technology in action. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. That was really wonderful. Thank you. Great presentation. So now I have great pleasure in moving to Nimra, and Nimra is looking after QV bioelectronics. So over to you, Nimra.
Thank you, Jenny. I'm just going to share my screen. Center notes.
Yes.
Can everyone see that? Okay. So, hello everyone. My name is Dr. Dimramnir, and I'm the Principal Biomaterial Scientist at QV Bioelectronics. Brain tumours are one of the greatest unmet needs in modern medicine, and they are the biggest cancer-related killer in under 40s. The most common form of primary brain cancer is glioblastoma, and despite having intensive treatment options being available, these patients will only survive just over a year on average, and only 3.4% of these patients will still be alive after 5 years. And to put this into context, breast cancer has a 5-year survival of 89%. Traditional methods of cancer treatment, such as biotech and pharma, have failed to provide any new treatments for over 20 years. The only new treatment to have shown great promise during this time has been electric field therapy, Just like you can tune the frequency of a radio, we can tune the frequency of electric fields so that they kill cancer cells without harming healthy brain tissue, ultimately slowing tumour growth and prolonging patient survival. When used alongside existing treatment, it has shown to more than quadruple the percentage of patients alive after 5 years. However, the only existing external device has an enormous negative impact on the quality of life of these patients, and it doesn't work as well as it could do. Patients have to wear a 3-kilogram backpack for at least 18 hours a day. They have to shave their hair and attach these pads to their scalps, which can take an hour to put on. So for obvious reasons, uptake of this device has been limited. And on top of all of this treatment costs $21,000 a month, a cost which is far too high for the NHS. Despite all of this, the company behind this device has managed to generate revenues of around $500 million, even though they only treated 15% of glioblastoma patients in the US last year. This demonstrates that a vast market exists for anyone who can come in with a better solution. And our proprietary solution is GRACE. GRACE is the first ever implanted electric field therapy device, which delivers electric fields from within the brain, allowing us to treat the cancer exactly where it resides. And by completely internalizing our device, we aim to overcome issues related with external electric field therapy. It is implanted during the same surgery that patients already have, using an electrode which easily fits different cavity shapes of different patients. The entire device is powered by a battery that is small enough to be implanted in the shoulder cavity. Batteries like these have been used routinely in clinics for decades. As we are delivering continuous treatment directly to the tumour site, this will allow us to potentially increase 5 years survival to 29%. This would be a massive leap in the context of glioblastoma. And the best part is we can do this without further compromising patient quality of life, so they can focus on what really matters to them. And our vision is to go even further than glioblastoma and apply the same treatment to a range of difficult to treat neuro-oncology indications, which are worth a combined $26 million annually. To deliver this ambitious plan, we have built an outstanding multidisciplinary team with expertise in all the key disciplines needed to deliver GRACE to the clinic. To date, we have raised £735,000 in seed funding. This funding will enable us to take our prototype device into proof of concept studies in large animals later this year, with first in human trials targeted for late 2024. We have recently been awarded an Innovate UK grant of £630,000, and we are currently raising a £2 million round, within which we are looking to raise £250,000 in angel investment with a ticket size of £50,000 and upwards, with any commitments converted at a discount once the next round has been completed. This will help us with cash flow to run the Innovate project and will ensure we get to the first in human trial in 2024. So in summary, at Glioblastoma, we are using cutting-edge neurotechnology to create a paradigm shift in the way brain tumours are treated. We want to significantly extend the lifespan of patients across a $26 billion global market. We have a world-class team with several decades of experience to get us there, and now we are seeking investors to help us deliver longer, better quality of life for brain tumour patients. Thank you.
Thank you, Nimra. Another really excellent and compelling presentation. Thank you very much indeed. And now, last but not least, really looking forward to hearing from Savannah, who's going to present Build ID.
Thank you so much. One more time, can we see my screen okay?
We can.
Perfect. First, I just want to say what an honor to get to pitch alongside such incredible companies doing such inspiring things. It truly is a privilege. So I'm Savannah de Savary. I'm the founder and CEO of Built ID. Our platform, Give My View, enables us to tackle the problem that the built environment impacts everyone. It's where we live, work, play, and learn. However, when it comes to decision makers who are shaping this environment, the people that they actually engage with, who they hear from, who have an impact on their projects, is limited to a very vocal minority, which is typically retired middle-class white professionals. the majority of people do not engage with decision makers. They don't have the time nor the inclination to go down to, a town hall at 5 p.m. on a Wednesday, especially when it feels like most of the decisions are already decided. It's predetermined what the project is going to be. So unless you are averse to change on principle and want to block it, you have no real compelling motive to engage. The same is actually proving to be true for renewable energy. It is so important that we get, to net carbon zero. However, for the big renewable energy companies, especially for those doing solar or on and offshore wind farms, they're finding their progress being hindered by the fact that a very small but vocal part of the community is blocking their ability to get planning approval. Our solution we have rolled out for dealing with this is to actually empower diverse voices to become a part of the change-making process, to give them a motivation to engage by making it really quick, fun, and easy to have a meaningful impact via our Give My View digital surveys. So how it works is that we ensure that anyone can have a meaningful say in less than 3 minutes. You should be able to engage when you're making your cup of coffee. And our clients, we make sure that everything is pre-qualified with design thinking workshops so that if you vote on something on Give My View, you already know that it's been deemed financially viable and feasible from a planning and design perspective for the decision maker to actually act on what you voted for, to actually see it enacted in real life, to have a tangible impact on your community. We do this in 14 different languages to make sure it's inclusive. It works just as well on your local library computer as it does on your smartphone. And we also ensure that even if what you voted for is actually in the minority and therefore isn't going to get actioned, you still have a positive social impact on your wider community just by taking the time to engage. Because every question you answer, you gain points. It's gamified, so that at the end, you get to choose between 3 hyper-local social initiatives to give your points to. And this translates into real significant money that the developer or the local council or the renewable energy company, whoever the decision maker is who you're engaging with, they will give that money to the community in proportion to the different initiatives that have been voted to have funded. The result of us doing community engagement in this way has been unprecedented. We get on average on one of our local community projects, 2,000 community members responding, sharing 19,000 preferences, priorities, and concerns. And this is 3,600% more contributions than the top digital competitor in this space. As you can see from our client list, we do this from everyone from local councils looking to enable the community to engage on their transport strategy to their climate action strategy or how they should spend money on local social infrastructure, to developers using it for doing new property development, or even someone like Manchester Arena, to someone like a big renewable energy company. The way you can apply this is actually pretty unlimited. Because what we do is across the board focus on the topics that matter most to people who are receptive to change, who by empowering them to have a genuine part in your decision making will feel an emotional investment in your project and will become your champions along the way. And fascinatingly, what we found is regardless of geography, demographic, whether that's age or ethnicity, we find that the 2 topics that resonate most is the environmental impact of a project and how can it combat social isolation. And what this means is a byproduct of using Give My View well is actually having a quantifiable impact on terms of your ESG performance. By using the platform, you actually enable the community to be at the heart of your decision making. And we do this across a variety of different types of projects. At the moment, our main focus has been on property development and on ESG value creation processes, such as whether that's actually community activation, tenant satisfaction, your customer wellness. And now, thanks to an Innovate UK grant, we're expanding more heavily into the renewable energy space, where our first 2 projects have seen staggering results with an average engagement metric of 7,000 respondents versus the 2,000 in property. The market opportunity is huge, both on terms of just in the UK alone, there's 68.6 billion in UK turnover for real estate businesses, and more pressure is being put on them to actually let the people impacted by their projects have a meaningful voice in these developments and in the operations of them. And on the renewable energy side, we need to increase the amount of renewable energy development going on exponentially in order to hit the targets for reaching carbon zero. And as a result, we're already well placed to tap into this emerging market for ESG data and services, because we can quantifiably assign a social impact score for any company who has real assets. In terms of our leadership team, we're a team who have backgrounds in either property development or in social tech and nonprofits, and we're passionate about bringing about positive change and ensuring diverse voices are heard at the center of decision making. And an example of this is that in honor of International Women's Day, we're even offering massive discounts on our projects where already we have social impact pricing, where anything that is going to have social impact at its core has a 40% discount on our sort of private sector pricing. And an example I just wanted to leave you with of how powerful this can be and the tangible impact when you involve a community in decision making is a women's safety community heat map. This is something which a local council has recently rolled out. And actually, they've had thousands of women respond using this to anonymously share where there's been, sort of a pattern of sexual assaults going on, or even where they don't feel safe walking at night, or places where they feel they just want more street lighting in order for it to feel somewhere where women can own this space. And the amount of both cis and trans women they're hearing from and non-binary people is staggering, who want to have a constructive relationship with their council. And yeah, thank you so much again for letting me take part today. It's a real privilege. And anyone who's interested in finding out more and how we can help you engage better with your community, whether it's your employees, your customers, or whether it's a community in the built environment, please do reach out.
Thank you, Savannah. So that was the last one of our presentations, and what a fantastic range of innovations we've seen, and really excellent presentations. So thank you all. Now I have the great privilege and opportunity to introduce our 3 female investors. They're all of them active in the market, and all of them with fantastic experience and backgrounds, and they'll be able to give you some really useful feedback today, I'm sure. I'd like to first introduce Elizabeth Gooch. Elizabeth, besides being an active angel, is founder and CEO of the Growth Factory, and she also has an MBE, so it's lovely to have Elizabeth here. And we have Jordan Darg, who has been a very active investor in the north and northeast of England. She's on the board of North Invest, and she co-founded Winning Angels of the North. And thirdly, Bridget Connell, who's a really active angel, been operating with Angel Academy for some years and made a number of really significant investments, and is a great supporter of women in innovation, as I know only too well. So lovely to have you here. And I'd like to start by just turning to you, to each of you really, to give a little overview and some kind of general thoughts first of all, and then to pick out any of the specific businesses where you feel you can give some direct feedback and advice, and perhaps some thoughts of your own about the way they can move their businesses forward. Moving to you, Elizabeth, first. I just wonder if you would, lovely to have you here, really exciting today. And I wonder if you wouldn't mind, as I said, just starting with a bit of general feedback and then picking any of those businesses or all of them just to say a few words.
Fine, thank you, Jenny. Well, first of all, yeah, I agree with you. Some really fantastic presentations, very professionally delivered for the most part.
Elizabeth?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, that's fine. So for the most part, fantastic presentations, very well delivered. I think some specific feedback, or some general feedback, I'll start with 2 or 3 points. First of all, I think have it in mind that you're making a pitch to a record producer, and you get that record producer or that investor is getting thousands of pitches every day. I myself get 6 or 7 pitches a day. So I want you to have in your mind the 7-second rule. And that is that in 7 seconds, you've got to attract me and make me want to open the cover or press play on your presentation. And for the most part, your presentations all started with brand, and your brands are unknown. So I'd like to see on the first page what you do, the problem that you solve, and who you solve it for, very clearly articulated. The second thing I'd like to see is, and I'm assuming you're pitching to investors for a reason rather than just selling to us, that if you're actually pitching to us because you want money, right at the beginning of your deck, actually say what it is that you're looking for. And this is particularly important if you've got a 1, 2 or 5 minute slot, which very often happens in these sort of pitch campaigns. So I think only one person actually said how much money they'd raised so far, where they've actually got to, and what they're looking for today. And I don't think I saw what it was going to be used for, but I may have turned away from the screen at that point. So very early on, you introduce yourselves and you say, and I'm here today because I'm looking to raise X in order to do Y, so that I know and I'm sitting and I'm listening. And that's also relevant because you don't know the investor that you're pitching to, particularly in these sort of events. Some of them can be seed investors, some are later stage investors, and they know whether to dial in and engage. So what I'm saying to you is put yourself in the mind of your audience a bit more, and don't over professionalize your delivery, because at the end of the day, investors are people too, and you need to engage with them. So I think those would be my sort of general points to everyone. And in terms of specifics, to be honest, I'm happy to help any of you with your pitching or with general business advice. I'm ashamed to say that I haven't got yet a female-led business investment. I'm looking at one at the moment with my daughter. We're quite late stage with that one at seed round, but very happy to look at more.
Sam? Thank you, Elizabeth. That was excellent. And yeah, Elizabeth's investing with her daughter, which I think is a great model. I really like it. So thank you, Elizabeth. Now, just turning to Jordan, again, a little bit of general feedback, but any specifics? I mean, I know one of them comes from your end of the world as well. So, but just over to you, Jordan.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jenny. And I hope you can hear me okay, because I know the sound hasn't been great throughout. But first of all, I just want to say a huge well done to each of the women who has pitched with us this afternoon. I know it's not an easy task, and I know it's even harder to do in a virtual landscape as part of a wider event. But thank you so much. In terms of what Elizabeth said there, obviously the 7-minute rule, I actually like to see it in a 30-second rule. Where I get to understand exactly within 30 seconds what the company does, using the same principle of understanding the problem and the solution that's being solved. I think as soon as I understand what the company does, I'm listening. My eyes are open and my ears are open, and I'm wanting to hear more. So the first thing I like to understand is what the business does, okay? I think you all presented extremely well. You were all extremely professional in your delivery, but you all took a very different approach to how you presented the business. Some of you really homed in on your skills and your expertise right at the beginning of the presentation, and some highlighted the team, but didn't really go into as much detail as I would like. I personally invest in a team. I invest in an A grade team and a B grade product, so to speak. So for me, I really like to understand exactly what your background is and why you're bringing this solution to the table. What I think you all did extremely well is you told us a lot about your background and the heritage to why the business has been established. And I think that's great, because I like something I can relate to. And if I can relate to why you're doing it, it makes it easier for me to understand why you're the right person to lead this business. In terms of the businesses, when I look at them individually, particularly, obviously, as Jenny's mentioned there is one business, obviously, that's operating in the north, and I'd really like to have a follow-on conversation with that company, because I think there's certain areas where I can support both on a personal and on a fund turnover basis as well. But the company that I think I'm more aligned to in terms of my skills and expertise is probably Adapt. My background is recruitment, it's talent, so I'm more than happy again to have a chat with yourself, Maud. But what I would say is, like Elizabeth, I'd like to speak to you all, because I think you've all got something that is fantastic there. I think you've got a really, really innovative company, and I love one thing I did note was you've all got great market opportunities. You've got great channels to market and huge potential addressable market as well, and that for me is fantastic. So rounding this up, I'd like to speak to you all. I think I can personally help Adapt. Obviously, Kirchhoff's at the beginning, obviously operating in the north. Really like to have a chat with you. But delighted to see so many fantastic businesses. And my portfolio, in terms of my investments, 50% of my investments are through female entrepreneurs. And you know what, I'm so passionate about supporting women, and I really want to grow this portfolio over the course of the next year. So please do get in touch with me.
Well done, Jordan. There's a great offer. So thanks very much indeed. And over to you, Bridget, because I know also, again, you support women very widely and very much part of a group that's very focused on women and technology as well. So love to hear your thoughts.
Thanks, Jenny, and thanks to everybody who presented today, and a big well done, because it is very daunting doing it in a short amount of time, and with a number of other entrepreneurs. I thought you all did brilliantly. So in addition to the feedback from Elizabeth and Jordan, I've got 3 additional themes for you to think about. And these are things that I then drill into when I look at pitches if I'm interested in investing. I'd say the first is the advisory board. And this tells me a lot about the business and the entrepreneurs. So I'm always interested to see who have you got on your advisory board. What caliber of advisors have you managed to attract? And what sort of skill sets are you using them for? So it tells me a lot. It tells me how confident and credible you feel about approaching advisors, how you've managed to attract an advisor to come and work with you. And it also tells me how you're using your advisory board to supplement some of the skills you don't yet have in your team that you maybe can't afford at the moment, but you've managed to get someone from an advisory board capacity to come in and help you. So, for example, that might be someone with sales expertise, or someone who has grown and has exited a business that's similar to yours. So advisory board. Now, some of you did go over that on your slides, but you went over it very, very quickly, and I would give that a little bit more time in your pitch. The second thing I'm also interested in is your competition and your understanding of what the competitive landscape looks like and what your USP is in relation to the competition, and then what's defensible about your USP. And I think it was Alice that mentioned getting IP sorted, but that tells me quite a lot as well about how aware you are of your competition, and that you are watching them all the time and you're clear about what your USP is. And then the final thing I'd say, in addition to everything else that you've heard, is it's about you. So investors will invest in you. So what I'm looking for is what you've done before, whether that's to do with your career, your commercial background, or outside, your side gig, or anything else you do. And during the investment process, I will be looking at how I get on with you and whether or not you think you could work with me as an investor. It's a long-term commitment, and that personal relationship is very important, because once I invest in a business, I know you'll be coming back for follow-on investment. So those are the 3 things I look for. I would say that in terms of any particular businesses that I want to give some feedback to today, I did research you all before I came onto the call this morning. I looked at you all on Twitter. I think it's great to see that some of you are featured in Sifted, some of you have won competitions, and I'd say get that sort of information online, so that when your investors are researching you, it's quite quick for them to see what traction you've got and where you're at in the market. I think they're the top feedback and comments from me. In terms of my investment lens, I only invest in female co-founded businesses. I invest through a syndicate Angel Academy. So if anyone is interested in raising investment and wants to know more about applying to Angel Academy, drop me a note and I'm happy to connect you. That's it from me, Jenny.
Great. Thank you, Bridget. I think probably there's some really quite big points came out there, didn't they, from all of you. And I think because you all did such fantastic pitches, I think these were really important, interesting added value points to start to bring in when you're thinking about your presentations. I think, and also I think only probably one of you, or maybe 2 of you, actually mentioned, whether in fact you were raising at this time and the amount you might be raising. Some of you referenced money you've raised already. And it's always good to kind of situate that, I think. So I think I would also add that point. I really endorse the point about advisory boards as well, because they are a wonderful way of building out your team, as Bridget said before, you can afford to. We've got some fantastic offers there from our three female investors of additional support and help you can have. And I think it's one thing that we all need to bear in mind, and I obviously want to say this, many of you are now on a very important journey with the Women in Innovation programme. And one of the things that we all know is how significant that support is that you will get from Innovate UK, but more importantly, how valuable that process is, and the grants that we've achieved through the Women in Innovation programme are massive validations to investors, massive de-riskers to us. And so I know you felt, and probably all knew it, but it was really good for you to reference that as well when you're speaking to investors. It's a huge tick in the box for investors, and that is one of the great pluses you've got from being on this program. I'd really like to add. I mean, turning to individual businesses, I wondered if I could ask any of you, our three investors, whether you had any more specific points. I mean, for example, you all, I think it was you, Jordan, said that you thought they'd all got great markets, but obviously some of those markets would be more challenging than others. And I wondered if you had any other thoughts on the market side.
Yeah, absolutely, Jenny. So particularly, obviously, with Build ID at the end, for me, Savannah, obviously, as you were pitching through that process, I think, you obviously, I wrote down, first of all, so who is the market and who is the end user? And you actually highlighted that right at the end of your pitch, whereas I would bring that much more further forward so that we truly understand exactly who this is targeted at, so that we can make it more relatable. I also highlighted as well, in terms of, obviously, Amira, your pitch particularly. I'm not sure if I've seen this opportunity before, because it does actually ring a bell. But again, obviously, you've got a huge market there in terms of, I think you said it was a 26 billion pound opportunity-based market. And again, great markets. And to be able to outline, obviously, what the total addressable market is and the service addressable market is. And I think it was actually Polytag who did that really well. If you can do that, Nimra, break it down a little bit more so we can really see who are the potential end users and what this can mean from a business perspective. I think as well, for me, Jenny, very much like what Bridget had mentioned there, after I know what the business does and I get to see the team, it is all about market and opportunity for me. And I always think about the potential risk of a business as well. When I'm starting to do my due diligence, I'll always look at the risk and the risk factors and go, okay, so if that market channel doesn't work out, how could they pivot? And I think it was actually Polytag who really highlighted those additional markets that they could look at. I'm not saying that needs to be part of your first pitch, but certainly as part of your due diligence, I'd want to see what other markets were available.
Thank you. Turning to you, Elizabeth, and you did make some very important comments as well, also about the team, because I know that's something very important to you. In your view, I mean, this seems to be a little bit of a varied comment across us all, I think. At what point do you like to understand the skills and expertise, especially of women-led teams? At what point does that become important to you in the presentation? Is it something they should be thinking more to present at the beginning, or leaving it to the end to kind of resume it?
Well, I was actually quite surprised by Jordan's comment, but I can understand why she said it, because actually I'm the opposite. I like to see it at the end. So it's almost like the team is holding this thing up. So how do they actually do? But I think that's to the point that I was making about don't over professionalize your delivery, because for me, a pitch is just a piece of paper. And when you read the paper, it doesn't have personality and life. It's when you meet the people that it does. And so I'm actually getting feedback from the personality that's presenting it as we go.
Are you back?
I'm still here.
Yes.
Yes. Can you hear me at all?
I can hear you now. Yes.
So I was saying I'm the opposite of Jordan. I like it at the end because the team is actually holding up the business, but I like to meet the people and hear them present. which is what I meant about the
I
authenticity.
think I'm missing the best of Elizabeth. I don't know if anybody else can hear.
Is anyone else getting it?
I think it's Jenny. I think you're dropping out, Jenny.
Am I dropping out? Oh, it's me.
Yeah, I think
They're on
I think
board with
Elizabeth
hearing
is
it,
really
Jenny.
consistent.
I think
Right.
it's important.
Okay.
I think it's important for
so-
a person to be authentic when they're delivering as well as professional. And that way you start to engage, because it is a cultural fit, I think, between investor and investee. You've got to get on with it. It's particularly at angel level. You've got to get on with people through the rough and the smooth. And if you don't get to find out who that person is because of this vanilla, I'm a professional presenter, then you start to lose it. I think the final thing I would say is, at this stage in a business's life, you very rarely get a perfect team, and it makes me quite angry that the professional investors all judge a business on that team. And it's, to me, it's more importantly, does the team have the skills now? No. Does it identify the gaps? Yes, it does. How are we going to fill those gaps? That is much more important to me, that there's an awareness that there's gaps to be filled, rather than having those perfectly filled at this stage.
Right.
Definitely stopped.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Elizabeth. And then can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry, I just, it's so difficult when we're all coming in and out. Apologies for that. We have just a last, a minute or so, just to make sure we're getting everyone's money's worth. I just wondered if there were any final points you wanted to say, because I think then we should really ensure we can, wrap up and thank these wonderful presenters. Bridget or Jordan?
I'd say the one final thing for me is that each of the 5 businesses that presented has made lots of progress so far, and so think of clearer ways of demonstrating you have made traction, so that really quickly in a short day, a timeline or something else, but showing the traction you've made so far just gives investors confidence making progress, and there's a hint of a market opportunity that you're going to make the most of.
Yeah.
And I guess if you haven't got the traction, which sometimes if you are very early stage and you're looking to obviously raise investment for capital intensive type business or research and development, show that there's validation there. Really do your research, make sure that you've validated your business model. But I absolutely agree with what Bridget just said there. But often we do see opportunities who are not quite in the market, so make sure you validate.
Yes, and I think on that note, that very kind of positive and interesting note, it's really, really good for us to close. And clearly, I'm sure, like me, all 3 of us want to give a hearty congratulations to the 5 wonderful presenters. The varied range of innovations and the huge opportunities that you presented. We can only give you all our congratulations and hopefully our support and ongoing help as you continue to build your businesses. So with that, I'd just really like to thank everyone for being here today. Obviously on with the show, but thank you again to my 3 wonderful investors, Elizabeth, Bridget and Jordan. Thank you.
No problem.
Bye.
Thanks,
Well done, everyone.
Bye.
Good luck.
Well done.
Bye-bye.